Alright, so it is 7 March 2020. We dropped this trailer off here 8 months ago at Camping World. You can see that's where we're at now, is Camping World. And 8 months later, they decide they can't fix the leak in the ceiling. But in the meantime, it has obviously still been leaking. They tore out a piece here apparently to take a look at it. And then 8 months later, they decide they can't fix it. So we're here picking it up, and this is the start of our "We'll Fix It Ourselves" video. You can see it, most of it just kind of had this kind of stuff where it was peeling back a little bit, and then it did not have all this crap here when we dropped it off. And certainly this was not like this when we dropped it off either. But it has sat here for 8 months and gotten worse. So thank you, Camping World. Alright, so we're up here on top of the RV trailer, and you can see it's got seams, but the seams, the stuff that they used to seal it with, is long worn away. It's drawn back, and I don't think it's useful to try to peel that off. But we're going to cover it with some Flex Seal, because all these exposed edges, especially things like this right here, we're going to reseal all this stuff, and that should keep it from leaking anymore. So once Lori got up here, you can maybe be able to see some scratches here in the coating or in the aluminum, where she scrubbed all this down and she sanded it a little bit. And so it's been a little while, so we're gonna rub off the dust and then come by and hit this with that Flex Seal, and that should fix it up. Alright, so we're putting the coating stuff on here, and we're essentially just making sure it's on thick enough to fill any of these cracks, and then a little bit on either side so that it holds on good. And we're just going to work our way around and seal up every bit of this stuff. You know, even the parts that aren't leaking, you can tell by looking at this stuff it's old, and this probably needed to be done anyway.
15 years old.
Alright, so to take this unit out, I got a screw here, and I had a little cover here. I had to pop out with my pocket knife, and up inside there was a screw, and then there's another screw right here, and then this whole thing here should come down. Alright, so that thing popped off with those 3 screws, and then I'm left with this. So I'm going to have to take this off. There's a bolt here, bolt there, and a bolt over here. I don't see, oh, here's the other bolt. There's a bolt there. So 4 bolts. And then I really don't know what that's going to let loose on. I don't want to take all that off. I just want to get this panel here, this metal panel, off so that I can replace this stuff. So I'll start by taking these 4 bolts off, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so we got these screws out. These are long screws, and they fit up. I don't know if the camera's going to show it very well, but they fit up in here and go through another level. So that you can level all this off, I guess, once you get it installed. Now, it hasn't dropped free yet. I disconnected these cables here. They went here and then here. This electrical cord comes in. I'm going to need to, I think, take it off right here. And there's another screw over here and here to to detach that. I took this little thermostat wire here off, and for this wire here, I think I'm just going to have to take that screw out there, and there's another one over here, and then all that should drop loose and let me take this plate out. After I remove these, there's a screw there, screw there, screw there. Looks like there's just 3 screws holding that on. There's actually 4 screws. This one here was rusty and I couldn't see it. Alright, so there it is. Looks like that wire there I did not just need to disconnect because it all stays right here. And I don't need to disconnect this. The only thing I need to disconnect is this yellow wire, my main power coming in, and this cable here. So we'll get that taken apart. Alright, I think I am going to take that off because instead of messing with all these wires, I think I'm going to take these screws out here and see if this whole unit will pop out. Got one more right here. I'm going to have to do that one by hand. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we've sealed up all these seams, but we still got a leak and it's coming from here. So we're going to take this cover off, and we undid the bolts to loosen that up, and now we got to figure out somewhere in this pan it is leaking. So you can see there's a pan that fits here, and obviously the rain can come in through those slots all around there and get in this pan. And so we're going to check all the connections of where this pan connects, and all the air that comes in through this obviously gets blown down into the trailer, and somewhere the rain is able to get in there too. Alright, so you can see when we move this pan, there's water here. Alright, so it's obviously getting water up underneath this pan, so we got 2 choices. We can either figure out how to take this pan off, or we can just seal all around the outside of it. That way water can't get in it. Alright, so I just tugged on this thing. We haven't loosened any bolts or done anything, and you can see it moves. Alright, so come to find out, this thing is just held in by gravity at this point. Taking out the other bolts and stuff basically freed that thing up. So I can actually push on it and we can see daylight through there. So we're going to lift it up and push it out of the way, and then see what we got up on top. Alright, so we get that unit pulled back from the hole, and you can see where there's no other holes underneath there except for the big hole that the unit fits through. But if you look, you can also see where that aluminum curls in this way, which means any water that gets up underneath this pan right here can just flow down into the opening. So we're going to get some Flex Seal caulk, and we're going to build a edge rim all the way around that, to where when we set this unit back there, it will be basically that will form a gasket, and will keep any water that does get in there from being able to go down into that hole. Alright, so Laura's going to clean that up and get it ready so it's dry for us to put some Flex Seal on. Alright, so we tipped up the bottom of this air conditioning unit. It's air conditioning, right?
Yep.
And you can see it's got a foam gasket that goes around there. But we could tell by some of the water stains where it had been leaking. And so we got our Flex Seal tubing over here. There was some foam squares right here that were there were 6 of them here, and so those were kind of rotted. So I've got some things here that we got from a dialect we killed, and we're going to put those on there to act as a foam spacer. And then we're going to take our Flex Seal and we're just going to lay a bead of that here on this gasket, which should be sealing. But then we'll put that Flex Seal on there, and then we'll gently put it into place, and hopefully that should seal everything up. Alright folks, so it rained and we still had a little bit of a leak, and I'm pretty sure it's coming from right here. So you can see this foam strip right here is basically that foam gasket that we had, and this piece of aluminum right here is the top skin of the trailer. Now this here is steel, and it's on the inside. There's a sandwich, right? So you've got the skin of the trailer here, and then you've got a steel bar right here, and then of course this wood and stuff goes on top of that. So you got the skin of the trailer underneath this foam, and then the steel bar, and then this wood, and then a final coat of stuff like that would cover it. So our leak, I think, was up here towards the front, and I'm sure the problem is that when we just put all that Flex Seal on there and then moved it around to get it in place, the bead wasn't thick enough to make sure that there was a seal. So I'm just gonna leave this in place, and I'm gonna put the Flex Seal around here. As a matter of fact, I think I can see a little bit of daylight right there. Yeah, where there is not 100% seal. So that there might actually be where my leak is coming in from. I can't quite get I don't know what the deal is, but it looks like there's a leak. There's some light coming through there. So here, we're going to run a bead around the inside of this. That should seal it, even if it's not sealed on the outside, and keep the water from coming in. Alright, between the outside and the inside, that took one full tube, 9-ounce tube of this flex glue. And you can see we smeared it up on the inside there against that gasket. There's plenty of it in there. So if that don't fix it, nothing will. So now we just got to wait a day or two for the next set of rain to come through. And hopefully this will be dry, and then we can start replacing all our wood and our paneling and get this thing buttoned up. Alright, so we had a couple days of rain and no leaks, so we're going to call that leak fix problem done. And I'm going to probably just make this part 1 of this repair video, is fixing the leak, and then we'll do a part 2 where we refinished all this sealing and make it look nice again.